Good morning. Today is Thursday, January 18th, 2024. One of the most lyrical, romantic, emotional passages in the entire Torah is from the Navi, the prophet Hosea. Ve'erastich li la'olam. The prophet Hosea quotes God speaking to us, the Jewish people, Ve'erastich li la'olam, and you shall be betrothed to me, God says to us, married to me forever. Ve'erastich li b'tzedek, u'v'mishpat, u'v'chesed, u'v'rachamim, and you shall be betrothed to me in righteousness, and in justice, and in kindness, and in compassion. Ve'erastich li be'amunah, and you shall be betrothed to me in faithfulness, v'adath Hashem, and you shall know God. This is the source at a Jewish wedding for the bride to circle the groom 7 times, corresponding to these 7 phrases. And that serves the purpose to imbue this human marriage as partaking of, paralleling the divine marriage between God and the Jewish people. Many have the custom to recite these verses while wrapping the tefillin around our arm, our hand, so that the tefillin we wear are a sort of wedding band, reminding us of the close, intimate marriage that each of us has with God as we bind our head, our intellect, and our arm, our actions, to God's service. We likewise know from the Talmud that God also wears tefillin. Our tefillin contain parchments with 4 passages from the Torah written on them, and those passages are about what God has done and continues to do for us. What is written in God's tefillin? The Talmud says, in God's tefillin is inscribed, Umi ka'amcha Yisrael goy echad ba'aretz. Who is like my people in Israel, a nation unique in the entire world. The mitzvah of tefillin is introduced at the end of our Torah portion, the Parsha Bo. The Torah says, V'haya la'os al yadcha, and it shall be a sign on your arm, uletotafos. So there's a difference of opinion, some controversy about how to translate that word, but the simple translation is adornment, and it shall be an adornment, bein einecha, between your eyes, meaning on your head, above your forehead, between your eyes. A sign that ki b'chozek yad hotzianu Hashem miMitzrayim, that God took us out of Egypt with a strong arm. Now, from this verse, we derive a curious detail about putting on tefillin and wearing tefillin. First of all, I'm sure you know, approximately 90% of all people are right-handed. Whenever the Torah or the rabbis use the term right hand or right arm, it means the stronger hand or the stronger arm. And whenever they use the term left, it means the weaker. So I happen to be one of those people that is left-handed. So this, my left hand, is my strong hand. In biblical terminology, this would be called my right arm, meaning my stronger arm. And the halacha is, quoted in Shulchan Aruch, the Code of Jewish Law, Makom hanachasan shel yad bizroa smol, the place for the tefillin that we wrap on our arm is on our left arm. It says left arm, but that means for a right-handed person, left, meaning on the weaker arm. So a right-handed person puts tefillin on their left arm, and a left-handed person like me puts tefillin on my right arm, which is my weaker arm. Why? The Mishnah Berurah quotes from earlier sources our verse. The Torah said, "V'hayula os al yadcha." The word yadcha in the Torah, your arm, is spelled in an abnormal manner. Yadcha behei. It's spelled yadcha with a hey at the end, not the normal way you would find this word yadcha, which means your arm. Perish, as if to say yad keha, your weaker arm. Dahainu hasmol, for a right-handed person, that's the left arm. She tasha v'keha, because that is the arm that is weaker. So we put tefillin on our weaker arm, which is curious because I can't think of another mitzvah that we specifically do with our weaker arm. Normally, every other mitzvah I can think of, we always do it with our stronger arm. We hold the Kiddush cup in our stronger arm. We hold the lulav in our stronger arm. When we do a mitzvah, we use our stronger arm. Again, for a left-handed person, their left hand. For a right-handed person, their right arm. But why is it that when it comes to this mitzvah, we are to put tefillin on our weaker arm? So there's a practical answer, and that is we are using our stronger arm to put the tefillin on, because the arm where the tefillin is, it's just wrapped around. So that arm is stationary. It takes a little bit more effort and agility to put the tefillin on, to wrap it and to tighten it and to put it into place. So you need your stronger arm to do most of the work on the weaker arm. Actually, the Talmud uses the following derivation. The Talmud compares the tying of the tefillin, the tightening of the tefillin on our arm, to the writing of the tefillin. We write tefillin with our stronger arm, so we tighten the tefillin with our stronger arm, meaning onto our weaker arm. Okay, that is a practical answer that makes sense. But I want to consider with you a deeper reason for this. A number of years ago, my family and I visited Israel for about a month, and we were staying in an apartment in the German colony. Each morning, I had a routine. I would go to the same makolet. Makolet's like a dépanneur, small grocery. I would go to the same makolet. I'd get a paper, a fresh cup of coffee, and then I'd come back, usually before my family woke up. And every day, the same man was at the counter. Now, I'm not proud of myself for this observation, but he struck me as a rather rude, gruff young man. His appearance certainly was very secular. I'm not making any judgment about that, but just that was my perception of this person that I saw very briefly every morning. One day, I must have come a bit earlier than usual, and as he was putting my groceries into the bag, I noticed on his arm the strap marks from where he had obviously put on tefillin that morning. Because when we put on tefillin, we put them on tightly, and as anyone knows who does it and can immediately recognize in someone else, those indentations, the indentations that the straps leave behind are visible for, I don't know, a couple of hours after one finishes. So I noticed that this man in the makolet had put on tefillin, and he saw me notice. And he said to me, and I don't know, maybe I appeared more judgmental than I thought I was, but He said, I put on tefillin every morning. I mean, I don't know why he had to, as if he had to explain himself, but okay, I'm just telling you the story the way it happened. He said to me, I put on tefillin every morning. And then he said the strangest thing to me that I've never forgotten. He said, pointing to where he puts on tefillin, he said in Hebrew, Zeh hakoach sheli. This is my strength. I never thought about it in those terms. But perhaps putting tefillin on the weaker arm helps to make that arm stronger. It helps to repair and overcome the weakness of the weaker arm. And it could be that by putting tefillin on our weaker arm, our left arm for most people, but for some people like me, our right arm, we are actually acting out a different biblical passage, in addition to the passage of Hosea I mentioned at the beginning. And this is a passage in Shir HaShirim, the Song of Songs, written by Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon. Shir HaShirim describes, like Hosea, the romantic relationship between God and the Jewish people, the intimacy, the closeness, the love between God and the Jewish people. And in one passage, discussing the tremendous love that God has for us, we, the beloved, say, Smolo tachas l'roshi, v'mino t'chabkeni. His left hand, the weaker hand, cradles my head, while his right hand, the stronger hand, caresses me. What a beautiful image, what an intimate image of God and the Jewish people, God holding, cradling, caressing. So it could be that we act that out with our stronger arm, caressing, winding around our weaker arm to place the tefillin, which attests to God's love for us. So the smolo, the weaker arm, God is cradling us with that arm, and the caressing, which could be the placing of the tefillin, the winding of the tefillin around the arm, is done with the right hand, the stronger hand. One final story that expresses the eternal nature of this loving relationship, and this is a story I heard from Rabbi Yisroel Mair Lau. He said, imagine the following scenario. Socrates, who lived in ancient Greece over 2,000 years ago, miraculously comes back to life and he arrives at the Athens airport. But the baggage handler neither speaks the same language nor has the same faith. Julius Caesar lands in Rome, but his Latin is not the Italian of today, and Rome is no longer the Rome of Caesar, but the Rome of Fellini and Gucci. And then an old man lands at Ben Gurion Airport and says to the baggage handler, Shalom Aleichem. And the baggage handler says, Shalom Aleichem. Who are you? And the man says, I am Moshe. And Moshe says, I know this is the land of my people, but I forgot my tefillin. And the baggage handler says, here, take mine. Same tefillin, same language, same faith, even though more than 3,500 years have passed. That is the enduring beauty of the mitzvah we learn in this week's Torah portion, the mitzvah of Tefilin. My friends, I wish you a great day, and I look forward to seeing you soon in person.